So I'm going to be perfectly honest. I have stubbornly refused to get into PC gaming for a number of reasons. I hate it when mods dominate the discourse surrounding a game. I've always been intimidated or annoyed by the PC gamer community. I prefer analog controllers, and there hasn't really ever been a game that made me just want to bite the easily obtainable piece of cake emblazoned with the neon letters Steam. So Cuphead was released as an Xbox One PC exclusive, and given the lengths I've gone to in the past to avoid having to go PC, like developing the patience of a saint just for a single game to be released to the Vita, the only option for crazy people like me should be clear. I got a Steam account, went to a local 7-Eleven, paid for a Steam code with enough money to actually buy Cuphead, and proceeded to buy Cuphead. And then I bought a PS4 controller so I could actually play the game. So this is... It's great, and you should totally play it. Cuphead was made by Studio MDHR and was the brainchild of the Moldenhauer brothers, Chad and Jared. The two have gone on record as saying Cuphead was a love letter to the media they loved and grew up on as kids. Specifically, rubber hose cartoons like Fleischer and games like Contra. So in other words, the game is a run-and-gun, side-scrolling shooter with the game's aesthetics embodying traditional Western animation from the 1930s. If that wasn't obvious enough from the fake 1930 copyright whenever you start the game up. The story of Cuphead is quite simple, but still manages to contain the dark subtext that animation from that time possessed, where Cuphead and his brother Mugman proceed to ignore their game's own subtitle and make a deal with the devil. And the only way they can save themselves is if they fight every person who has ever made it with a deal ever and beat them. This all takes place in the land of Inkwell Isle, a literal Fleischer reference, with the entire story and overworld framed as a sort of Winnie the Pooh-esque storybook adventure. Now as you Christopher Robin your way through the overworld and beat bosses, new pathways open up to advance through each island. Once you beat all the bosses in each area, you can go to the next one. While the core gameplay is all about the bosses, the overworld still has plenty of little side stories you can do that not only help you, but have their own meta and sort of charm to them. Now, everyone and their mother has talked about how amazing this game is and how difficult this game is, so it'd probably be best if I elaborate on the gameplay. So Cuphead's run-and-gun style platforming has a high emphasis on boss confrontations. Each island you go to has a set number of bosses you have to beat, i.e. all of them, before you can go on to the next one. Cuphead and Mugman have been taking some advice from my friends as they fight all their enemies with finger guns. Aside from jumping, they also have a dash as well as a parry that you can use on anything pink. Why pink, you may ask? Well, because the color is very easy to recognize and easy to spot when the screen is hectic. I mean, people make fun of Danganronpa for the pink blood, but it's pink for a reason, guys. Now, shooting and parrying things builds your super meter, so you can unleash a stronger EX form of your attack, or if you max it out, you can use one of 3 unique supers. The game does have 2 difficulty settings at first until you beat the game the first time, though if you actually want to get the full experience that the game has to offer and actually beat it, you will have to play it on regular difficulty. And here's where I disagree with the get good apologists.
This is a real hardcore game!
Cause yes, the game's hard, but not in the whole hardcore mechanical sense. Cuphead's level design, while challenging, is incredibly engaging and approachable to play and rewarding to beat. This comes back to those pesky aesthetics I was talking about, because it informs everything about the game's design. The bosses in Cuphead are all explicitly designed to be both unique from each other, and the personality of the movements and attacks informs that gameplay. This is what I find so interesting about Cuphead, because what I've noticed in the people who have played Cuphead, that while some bosses are harder than others, most people tend to struggle with different bosses. Since these bosses' personalities and attack patterns are so unique from each other, they inform different fighting styles and player quirks. It's how I have so many favorite bosses in this game, even the fucking nightmare fuel that is Bebby the Clown. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that all the bosses have names, and they are the best. Personality is such a core facet of this design, from the live band recordings they did for each boss to every unique death quote the boss gives, depending on what phase you die on. Given how each run can last at most 2 to 3 minutes, and how the game charts your progress through the stages, makes it easy to keep trying and get better at the game. And these confrontations can be customized to suit your playstyle thanks to your new best friend, Pork Rind. Over the course of the game, you'll collect coins, which can be spent on different shooting types, which all play differently from one another, and charms, unique quirks that alter one of your skill's main functions, like an invincible dash that you can't track, or giving you a small HP boost at the cost of your damage. Granted, you probably won't be able to get all your power-ups on the first go, unless you carefully explore the overworld and play through the optional run and gun stages. These stages play out like a super hectic episode of SpongeBob.
I'm out of here.
The only reason you absolutely need to play through these stages is to either open up a path on the map, or to get coins for the shop. Now, Cuphead was originally planned to be just the bosses, until they added these run and gun stages, which has their own good and bad side to them. On one hand, it provides a unique and easy way to get the player familiar with the controls and confronting them with the unique problems which will inevitably help them with the bosses. It also provides them with an alternative to just beating the game without power-ups if they are having trouble, since each run and gun stage at least affords the player one power-up per level. In some instances, it's pretty easy to tell that aspects of these levels are either boss mechanics that never got completely fleshed out into their own boss, or there was a boss that already had a similar mechanic that got executed better.
I'm looking at you, Funhouse Frazzle.
So basically, the bosses in Cuphead are so good that the rough edges in the optional run and gun sections become apparent. Now lastly, there's this sort of zen-like fairness to the game, that after I would beat a boss, I began to notice how the telegraphing and attack spacing was incredibly fair if still challenging as all hell. Heck, even Dr. Call's robot, which by the way, fuck that robot, even though his boss fight glitched out on me twice, I'm not even mad about that, guys, I swear. It has its own quirks that make it fair.
But seriously though, guys, fuck that robot. I hate him so much, damn. So damn much. Please just...
You know what? I'm happy.
Hopefully I've made a solid case to you guys about this game. But I want to step back a bit and address the audience who may not want to give this game a shot, either because you don't feel up to the task with this game's difficulty, or maybe this type of game really isn't your thing. Now, you don't need to subject yourself to the commitment that the hardcore audience says you need for these games. Shut up. And the length of the game is short and reasonable for the excellent content you get out of it. And if you are interested, I would highly recommend checking out Studio MDHR's YouTube page and look at their big band recordings of some of the soundtrack, as well as Cuphead-The animation process, and the GDC talk about Cuphead's animation. I feel that these videos would really help illustrate the time, effort, and craft that went into making this game. Hell, if you're still unsure, you can just watch Let's Play if you want. That's what got me started and why I bought the game in the first place. But actually sitting down and playing through Cuphead was completely different and extremely satisfying, and I highly recommend buying this game. Well, thank you all for watching. Why don't you guys tell me your favorite Cuphead bosses down in the comments, and maybe you have suggestions for future videos. Either way, have a good one, friends.